Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ananya, can you just get started? We are live on YouTube, so we should start now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you able to share the screen, Ananya?
So, ma'am, are all panelists entered?
We have Dr. Neeta. But we can start, Ananya.
Good evening, panelists, jammers, SAB, and the audience. We have gathered here today for the EduJam, Education Redefined. Before we begin, I request everyone to mute their mics to prevent any disruptions. Nandini will now brief you about our host, Empower.
Hello everyone, I am Nandini. So I'll just tell everyone quickly what Empower is all about. Empower works in the area of entrepreneurship life skilling for school children of age between 8 to 18. We are partners with 43 plus schools in India and work with students to develop the entrepreneurial thought process and the entrepreneurial life skills. The entrepreneurial mindset help them to remain ahead of the changes, seize opportunities in the areas of their passions, and help them to create an economic value for themselves and the society. Now, I am extremely glad to be a part of the Students Advisory Board member of Empower. Now, Sakshi will tell you quickly what Student Advisory Board is all about. Over to you, Sakshi.
Right. So the Student Advisory Board is a group of students from ages 13 to 18, which forms an integral part of building this experiential learning platform. For the first time ever, students have ideated, tested, and participated in crafting an engaging learning platform for fellow students. This annual board membership gives students a unique opportunity to work closely with Team Empower on user-centric product development. The student board gives Empower the perspective on what our users like and how they communicate. This way, Empower is always connected to the students. So that is the Student Advisory Board. Without further ado, let's start the EduJam. Nandini?
So, EduJam. Change in our education system is overdue. And yes, the pandemic has pushed everyone to think differently. So, EduJam invites students to express their thoughts and perspective on what works and what needs to be better. So, I invite every one of our EduJam participants here. So, here are some instructions for every participant. Every participant will get 1 minute to speak, and we won't at all mind the 10-15 seconds of exceed. Then every participant will be marked on the basis of how innovative their thinking is, and the winner will be announced in the end. Also, every participant's name and city will be announced by our members. So just begin with your speech. So here we go.
Thank you, Nandini, for providing the necessary instructions to the participants. Hello, everyone. Myself, Sneha Banerjee, and I'm going to moderate today's jamming session along with Manya Jain. So now we can begin with our first participant of the day, Vaibhavi Gaur. She is 14 years old and she is from RBK International School, Mumbai. Vaibhavi, are you ready?
Do we have Vaibhavi on board? I think it's fine. We can go get to the next participant.
Manya?
Okay. So let's welcome our second contestant, and her name is Divya Gupta. She is 17 years old and she's from Devi Model School, West Bengal. Are you ready, Divya?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Divya. And for the next 1 minute, I'd be talking about how our education system has been redefined by a microscopic little being, which has turned the world upside down. Well, the chalks have been replaced by digital pens, and the blackboards have been replaced by digital boards, and our friends have been replaced by Google Meet and Zoom platform as well. Well, social anxiety, depression, stressfulness, and all other factors results in one's depressing academic career, and which is the utmost importance of all the board students, which would be giving their boards in 2021. Now we are all stuck at our homes with nothing but our assignments and projects, which are due next week, and the teachers should take care about how we spend our times, not only on our 5 hour long online lessons and just our assignments, and except for them we have our life as well. So we have been stuck at our home, we have been stuck at our home with assignments and projects, and except that we don't have anything extracurricular. So I believe that there should be a communication between the school staff and our parents as well about how we should spend our times except for these extracurricular activities as well. So I'd like to say that the three important loopholes of this online education would be: one, internet access; two, the disturbances caused at our homes; and three, sharing of our PC, laptops, tablets, etc. So I wish that these problems and loopholes are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya. Next, we have ICD M. Shetty, 15 years old, from Vidya Vikas, Vidya Samaste, Karnataka. ICD, are you ready? Is ICD on board?
Yes, she is.
ICD, are you ready?
Maybe there's an internet.
Nandini, you are on mute. We can't hear you.
So since ICD is not available now, so we move on with our next participant, Isma Gulvez, 14 years old, Rabia Girls Public School, New Delhi. Isma, are you ready?
Yes.
So your time starts now.
On this auspicious occasion, conclusion, I would like to say that the effect of this lockdown is worse for the student. They are unable to meet their friends and enjoy what they used to do in pre-COVID days. All schools are closed due to this pandemic. Students have faced various problems related to anxiety, depression, poor internet connection, and unfavorable learning environments. At home, students can't recreate the atmosphere of classrooms at their home, but some children utilizes this time to improve and reflect upon their to improve and reflect upon themselves and believe that this time is very beneficial for them. But some children are lack of internet at home. I find it very sad. Very sad. People are deprived of the right to learn due to their social economic backgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Isma.
Welcome.
Next, I would like to call Vani Nair. She is 13 years old from Ryan International School, Mumbai. So, Vani, are you ready?
Hello everyone, this is Vani Nair and I guess lockdown experiences are going normal for me because there are online classes and as well as physical classes because I really would prefer physical classes more because online classes are really hectic for me to just just sitting in front of cameras and all, and I'm not used to it. So I really prefer physical classes, and some of the classes are not really. Um,
Yumna, you're on mute.
Okay. Can I start?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Technical issues, surrounding distractions, time management issues, unfamiliar technology, uncertainty about the future, absence of opportunities for e-learning, changes in the learning style, villages like Doki, Kalpa, Lachung, Zangu, Nobra Valley, where today also people doesn't exist to internet. These situations can't be neglected. Government schemes like e-basta schemes are appearing ineffective schemes. And I must say, it's not just about making plans. It's about making them to happen. And for me, education is like a passport for the future. And it belongs to those who work for it today. And I have experienced that this online education is beneficial, but only to an extent. And this cannot replace the traditional education. Thank you.
So, thank you, Yumna.
Welcome.
Next, we have on board Prachi Kothari, 15 years old from Vidya Vikas, Vidya Samaste, Karnataka. Prachi, are you ready? Since Prachi is not available, we have Shamantak Datta, 18 years, Devi Model School, West Bengal. Shamanta, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready with my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And today we're going to be talking about online classes and how we can redefine education with that. And as far as we can see that online classes have been changing our education system very effectively, and students' life has been changed. But there are a few loopholes and a few problems which I think need to be addressed, because if it continues like that, I don't think that this entire academic year is going to be wasteful. First off, we need to train the teachers with technological objects and all the other things such as computers, e-learning, and teaching online, because many students who have as teachers in schools are accustomed to offline learning, and they've been doing it for 20 to 30 years. So we need to teach the students first to how to teach the students and how to teach the teachers. Either way, next up, we need to address the students themselves, and we need to hit them in a moral level so that they can stop exploiting the loopholes in the education system online, such as cheating through internet or such kind of things. Because at the end of the day, if we look at it from that perspective, then e-learning and online education systems are or online exams in general, they're not very different from reading a book and then giving an honest exam on based on that. So it's not going to help us giving us real life field experiences which are going to be beneficial for jobs, especially for higher classes such as class 12 or class 10 or class 11. So I think schools shouldn't be focused more on assignments and exams and should be more focused on how to reach the students in a personal level, deal with their insecurities, deal with their problems, and teach them, because we can always take the exams later on. That's it.
Thank you, Shamanta. Let's move on to our next contestant, and she's Vani Nair. Could I get Vani Nair? She's from Ryan International School, Mumbai. Vani? Okay, since
Hello. Sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay, sure. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead.
So my lockdown experiences are going normal because I cannot.
I think there is some technical error. I think we can proceed.
Right. So next we have Thea Gandhi, 13 years old, from JB Petit High School for Girls. Thea, are you ready?
Yes. Hello everyone, my name is Thea Gandhi. My second home is school, where we all learn upon Shakespeare, Willem, and the Jewel. Learning in school is so much fun. Can you tell me the difference between irony and fun? Today, the world is so cliquish with technology. The pandemic especially has shown us a trailer to what the world can be if education mingled with technology. I, personally, as a student from JB Patted High School for Girls, think that it is a great idea for our physical schools to combine with technology. This, in turn, will not only save paper, but it will also stop the cutting down of trees. I also believe that education should be more holistic and not bookish, because we should encourage the way that education should be. We should encourage the fields of sports and arts. Not we should encourage books, but also sports and arts. We should learn more about medieval history. We learn ancient history, things that happened 2000 and 1000 years ago, but we tend to lose out focus on things that took place 50 and 60 years ago. So I think that is a point that we should focus upon. It is not only about the pandemic or post-pandemic, it is in general education redefined. Before I end, folks, I would like to tell you all that a new education era is round the corner. And I, Thea Gandhi, am super excited and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Thea.
Okay, so next, move on to our next contestant. And she is Niharika Kshatriya from Mumbai. She is 14 years old from RBK International School.
A very good evening to everyone present here. It's an honor. If we talk about online classes, there are many advantages and disadvantages, but we students overlook the advantages and focus on disadvantages so that we can tell our parents we don't want to attend school. And the disadvantages mainly are actually very severe, which is headache, getting specs, and back pain sitting in front of the screen for several hours, and trust me, it does not feel good. Advantages is that we learn new things from the internet. Teachers learn new things, we learn new things, and it's a fun experience, but also a hectic one. I would rather choose physical school because, to be very honest, I cannot focus on online school because YouTube is just a tab away, and I would rather uh, I would rather choose physical school because I can meet my friends, have a chit chat with the teachers, and it's actually a very close like this thing. We have a relationship with our friends, and we can learn more, we can focus more. So I would rather choose physical school instead of online.
Thank you, Niharika. So before we move further, we have Nandini to announce something. So Nandini.
Hi everyone. I have something really important to announce. We are also taking the on-spot registration for the EduJam. The link is provided in the chat box. Just go and register for the EduJam if you are all interested in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. So next, before we move ahead, let's start with a thought. Education breeds confidence. Confidence breeds hope. Hope breeds peace. With this thought, we move on to our next batch of participants, starting with Prachi Kothari, 15 years, from Vidya Vikasa Vidya Samaste, Karnataka. Prachi, are you there? So, since Prachi is not here, may we have Vaibhavi Gaur? She is 14 years old and she's from RBK International School, Mumbai. Vaibhavi?
I think they're not present, so I think we should proceed.
So with this, we come to the second half of our webinar session. So for the second half, we have an amazing panel on education redefined. So starting with Dr. Neeta Mahatre Mishra, edupreneur, psychotherapist, and founder Reach Out, who caters to skill development of destitute rape survivors and transgenders, teachers training and empowering the youth is her prime forte.
So our next panelist is Mrs. Seema Nair Kshatriya. So Mrs. Seema Nair Kshatriya is the headmistress of RBK school and has been in the education industry since last 25 years. With this experience, she has knack of how to exactly mold herself with every generation's need and preferences.
Next on board, we have Mrs. Pushpanjali Ramachandran, a charismatic and dependable teacher with 14 years of experience, delivering educational assistance and instructions to various levels of learners, committed to providing students with necessary to achieve academic goals and cooperative teamwork.
So next, we have Sushil Mungekar sir, who is regarded as an inspirational leader, serious entrepreneur, and mentor for new age. So Sushil Mungekar sir embarked upon the journey of bringing up entrepreneurship learning to high school students in the most fun and experiential way by founding Empower the B School for Teens.
We now request the panelists to express their views on today's topic of discussion, which is education redefined, and also how they have adapted to the new normal.
Hey, thanks, team. I think it's a wonderful topic that you people have taken. So I think we should take a step back and hear more from you rather than we talking. I think we keep talking a lot. So I think talking about education, I'll keep in a very few minutes, and then I would like to also listen to some of the other panelists. I think education, when pandemic had happened, it really disrupted the way we look at education. And if you look at just before 17th of March, in our schooling system or parents as well, we were so worried that our children are using mobile phones. And ultimately, we were actually confiscating their mobile, them away from technology and all. But once the pandemic happened, virtually we had to force children to sit on mobile phones or laptops, and also it was a transformational change. Nobody was ready for that, neither the students nor the teachers nor uh, people. And but everybody was forced, so teachers adapted to that. Students were virtually forced, so they ultimately got used to it. And education boards, systems, governments, they actually adopted to online education. I feel somewhere in last 10 months that we as India, or for that matter, particularly if you talk about states, we have lost a great opportunity to look at different ways of disrupting in the education system, because now pandemic had a lot of severe bad impact. But one of the impact that pandemic had, which I call as a positive impact, is it forced us to look at so many things differently. Look at working culture. I mean, we were always of the belief that unless until we go to office, we can't work. But work from home has virtually given a leap to so many companies that not only they are able to reduce their cost of offices, but also improve the productivity of people because they have reduced traveling. So people have looked at differently. Look at Zoom for that matter. I think last 10 decades, last 1 decade, 10 years, the kind of leap that Zoom as an app has made is phenomenal. Education that way also has a lot of things that we can actually, uh, see whether we can make those changes. I think I'm going to just put a framework, and I would like the panelists also to look at the one, and I call this as framework of 4 R's in education. First R is reach. How we can actually make this education more inclusive, increase the reach tremendously, so that people ultimately can get access to education, whether it is online or tomorrow when the pandemic is over, we'll again go back to offline. At that point of time, are we going to get rid of online completely, or we are going to uh, again have a blend of this? I think this is something which we'll have to look at, and also make sure that the education reaches significantly. I think post independence, if you say India, uh, having said that, we can always criticize the current schooling education system, or it has not uh, remain relevant to the changes. But with 15 lakh schools, at least 85 million students, 8.45 crore students are actually getting formal education. Children in villages which otherwise were completely deprived from education. All the sections of the societies, tribals or lower caste or lower class people actually got access to education. So how do we make it more and more encompassing? Today we still face a problem of 52% of children are dropping from schools at various levels, from grade 4 to grade 10. So how do we make sure that we get it more encompassing? So that's one that we should look at, is reach. The second one is, how do we make this education more relatable? How children relate to the education? Because at one point we are saying that children need to attend this, But at the same time, the onus is on us to make it more enjoyable, make it more, relatable to them. The techniques that we use, the way we conduct sessions, and the way we conduct this entire education, whether it is deployment, whether it's learning pedagogy, whether it is curriculum, how do we make it more relatable so that children learn that and ultimately use that in their future careers. So reach and relatable, these are two important things. The third one is making more relevance. We all know that current one of the major problem India is facing is unemployment, and unemployment is primarily coming because of skill mismatch. We don't have the skills which are required. As it is, jobs are coming down, and whatever limited jobs are available, even the skills, matching skills are not available to that. So how do we make current education system more relevant to the changes which are going to happen? 10 years down the line, people are seeing a lot of research which has happened. It says that 62% of today's jobs will become irrelevant in 2023, and 85% of jobs in 2030 are not even known to us at this point of time. So there's a huge gap of uncertainties. How do we make children ready for this? Because all these young people at this age, 13, 14, which I'm hearing now, would be 27, 28, or 23, 24 by 2030. So how do we make this education more relevant? And the fourth R, which I would put in the, is responsibility. While we do this, everybody has a responsibility. It's not only the government, it's the school management, private, public, both. It's the teachers, it's parents, it's students, it's society as a whole. How do we, each of us, get that responsibility done? And if each of us actually blend that responsibility among ourselves, then probably we'll be able to make education more relatable, we'll be able to make it more relevant, we'll be able to reach that education significantly. And if we do that, I think the opportunities for India are humongous. I mean, India, everybody believes that India is going to be a economic superpower, whether it is 2025, 2030, I think time doesn't matter. And being the second largest population in the world, being the largest English-speaking workforce in the world, and average age of India is 31, 32, which is far lesser than some of the developed countries. So India is sitting on a great flux of opportunities as they come on our way. I think these youngsters, when it's all directed to you people, I think you can make India a far better place than what previous generations have done. Subject to you getting right kind of skills at this point of time, right kind of education at this point of time, and how do you help? How this education helps you to manage uncertainties, manage changes around you. I think this is something which is the most important thing for today's children if we have to look at perspective of today's education. So I stop here. I would be more happy to get into question answers. I would like to hear there are eminent panelists on the panel. So for a change, I will actually take a role of a listener rather than speaking. Wonderful talking to you. I think in a short span of time, I think this team has come out with wonderful show. I could hear a lot of students. So I think whatever they said, there's a great amount of empathy that was coming out. There's a great amount of, if I'm going to say, a frustration of things not changing. I think that all leave that, keep that in mind. Don't let that go. I think once you are empathetic, you will be able to solve problems of the world and make your own ways of defining. Forget about education, everything that you want to define in life. So I think this is something which you need to cherish and start looking at solving these problems. I think India will be a far supreme place in years to come. So with that, thanks, Ananya and team. Over to you.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have another member on the board, and she is Mrs. Vritti Shah. So Mrs. Vritti Shah is a telecommunication engineer by education, and she's a hands-on mother. She liked to find innovative ways to teach boring topics. She loved playing board games and use it as a means to impart various skills. She strongly believed in experiential learning and liked to explore different tools to make it creative and fun. So I welcome Mrs. Vritti Shah.
Sorry to interrupt everyone, but there's a question asked by Namita Sharma. What exactly is EduJam? So EduJam is basically every student telling its view on the education definition in the pandemic situation in 1 minute in our live stream. So we are also taking the on-spot registration. The link you'll find in the chat box. Register for the EduJam. Thank you.
So before moving further, we have two more participants to talk. So first is Isma Gulvez. She's so Isma, do we have you? Do we have you on board? Isma. So so now I'll request our panelists to speak something. So may we have Dr. Neeta Matre to express her views.
Thank you and good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity for being among all the future leaders. So this entire journey of from 5:30 to 9, as Sushil sir has mentioned, of being empathy, I can actually see the four pillars of leaders emerging here among the new millennials. The kind of speaking, the kind of thought, the kind of expression is really fabulous. And really would love to relate with something which I love taking it in my sessions is the ask. And my sessions right from the pandemic has changed to an ask model, because you as students have actually taught me rather this. With your attitudes, with your skills, as well as your knowledge. And you have really proved all to be really so belonging, and also, managing your home plans, your assessments, your projects, as well as your own nature. So that is really very, very nice of you. And that is what is allowing you to be who you are. And when you are who you are, definitely you are also ready to deal with your own challenges, and you are also ready to confront, acknowledge what the challenges as the other students in the rural urban areas are also undergoing. So as mentioned, this is also having an advantage, this is also having a disadvantage. But if I have to recollect, we had our computers, our laptops, of course, were very, very late, but our computers were in 1989. And in fact, we could have actually thought about having virtual education that time too. But eventually, we had missed the bus. We missed the bus then, and we caught the bus now. Of course, there is no replacement for your physical education. The physical education is the need, because you need to go, you need to exercise, you need to meet people. We humans being social animals. But of course, understanding what is thing is like, your time consuming. You are doing again multiple things at multiple times. That is again giving you something to do with your own creative thinking, as well as parallelly critical thinking. So you are not only hand-holding yourself, you are even hand-holding the technology. You are learning, actually you are learning a part of us, what we are. So I really see to you people as the upcoming leaders, people who are change makers. You are actually the change makers, the torch bearers, so called. So this generation of millennials is there ready. Right from 2030, I'm sure there's going to be something different. What we will be seeing, absolutely grounded, absolutely empathized, and with a lot of responsibilities, with a beautiful smile on their face. It's not only going to be depression, it's not only going to be irritation, it's not also going to be frustration, but it's really going to be hand-holding, respect, compassion, Because when you are there in your houses, the first thing what you saw was your own self-reflection, and relating that self-reflection to your parents, understanding how your parents are also working at their work line, at their front areas. Many a times we were not aware what our parents are undergoing in their lives. But now when we see, we understand that we all are sailing in the same boat. Here it is our teachers, over them there is a boss. But our parents never showed us those picture of being aggressive or being frustrated or being irritated. And we eventually, in hand to hand, going and taking this journey together in this pandemic, we have really understood how that journey of understanding each other as a family and standing back for each other. So there is a lot which I, as an individual, is learning from the millennials. And super power to all the millennials, because this is amazing thing which you are doing. You are all actually creating amazing benchmarking people for the new generation as well. So thank you, Sneha, for giving me an opportunity. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we are having Mrs. Pushpanjali Ramachandran to speak her views. Ma'am. Since Mrs. Pushpanjali Ramachandran is not available now, may I ask Mrs. Seema Nash Kshatriya to please express her views on the topic.
Sure, Sneha, a very good evening, and a very good evening to the Empower team. A very good evening to Dr. Neeta and all the students out there. I would like to start, with applauding this generation. So I should really applaud this generation because the way they have, the way they are motivating themselves and we, the teachers, is excellent. When I think about the online teaching, I would also like students to know that this side, the teachers are having a tougher time than you all because you all are techno savvy, and the teachers who are teaching you I should say, were not very techno savvy, but yes, they have started becoming techno savvy thanks to you all, because I have my students, 6 and 7-year-old children, telling the teacher, you need to do this to, have this on the screen. And I'm surprised. I mean, 6 years old and 7-year-old children are doing that. And I think, God had he had an idea of what's going to be, and that is why, he has molded this generation in this way. I would also like to point one thing, students, here, that the way you all have adjusted. Now, this is a lesson to learn in your life, that whatever problems you all have, we need to adjust ourselves to our environment and fight. Down the line, I would say about 8 to 9 months, you all are having an online teaching, and you all have realized that how important a school is, how important physically being with your teacher is. And believe me, every teacher of yours will be missing you physically. And I have teachers telling me that even in the dreams, they are online. So this side, we all are trying our best to make the best for you. I know there are gray areas here wherein your eyes hurt, you have migraine problems. I have come across children who have started with migraine problems, but this is all going to vanish soon. So thank you for being hand in hand with the education department and your teachers, and that is the only reason why we are able to do it so nicely. I also would like to point out that with the online studies, I'm sure you all must be having yogas and physical education also as a period, as a lecture online. Do not miss that, because if you do yoga and physical, whatever hands or legs or whatever little yoga, whatever you do, that is really going to help you out, because you're not going out to play, I'm sure. So let us all fight together and I can see a lot of difference between, my children who 8 months ago and the children 8 months now, because they have understood that they need to respect the school. I used to deal with 6-year-old who never used to love to come to school, but now they are telling me, "Ma'am, you want to come to school." So this is what we have learned, and let us all fight together. And I'm sure that we're going to come up with beautiful colors. And with all the negative things what this pandemic has brought in, I'm sure it has also brought in few positive things also. It has made us stronger. It has made us plan for whatever worst and to face the problems, and swim across the opposite currents and come as a successor. So that's all, children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so are we continuing with the jammers now, or is it done?
So jammers, we have two more jammers. One was on-spot registration. So may we have Aradhya Goswami. She has filled the form on spot. So may we have Aradhya? So is Isma here? Will Isma speak?
Yes.
So Isma, your time starts now.
Yes, I have already done the registration.
You can speak, Isma.
I'm already done. Ma'am, I have already done.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Isma.
Okay.
So may we have Mrs. Vruti Shah to express her views. Ma'am?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So I heard from the esteemed panelists and I was really enlightened. As a parent, I'm going to share some effects of the pandemic from a parent's point of view. So as Sushil pointed out earlier, like before March 17th, 18th, mobile or a tablet or a PC was something that we were always taking away from the kids. But given the pandemic situation, it is something that we are forced to kind of give it to the kids. And it was amazing to see how our kids learned all the tricks and the trades. And I'm sure all the teachers over here on the panel will agree that they had to learn much and work harder to go one step further from the kids. But I feel that the pandemic actually gave us some positives as well. The biggest positive I see is that it actually taught us that education does not need to be restricted to physical boundaries. Yes, school is very important and we need to go to school and we need the social and physical interaction with people around us. But beyond school, if we want to grow our skills, or if you want to uh, you know take one step, take our learning further, we don't need physical boundaries dictating where our teacher is. We can join online classes, we can have teachers training us from America, UK. We could have YouTube videos to learn skills, and there are beautiful platforms like Empower to keep the learning going beyond the academics. So while the school is constantly giving us the academic support, but the online tools and the online platforms are giving us support on topics that go beyond the academics. The other thing that I feel is that one aspect that the academic education was missing was skill development, and that is where these online platforms are really helping, where you can identify which skill you want to pick up, and there are multiple avenues to learn those skills online and practice them. So while nothing takes away from the physical school, but the pandemic did really teach us that physical boundaries are not a limitation to our education, and we can always keep learning and keep growing. Another thing that I think the today's generation, the millennials, have shown us is adaptability. I think somewhere that was something that nobody knew how to do it, what to do in the pandemic. Initially, with the lockdown coming in, there were limited resources as well available. So all of those, they have really shown resilience, and they have adapted to the situation. They have adapted to not meeting their friends physically for many months. They have found ways of keeping in touch with them through Zoom chats, through social media. So I think overall, that is another positive that has come out of this, is where the millennials have tried and tested their own resilience and their own adaptability. So they were able to see and showcase that to everyone. So I think when it comes to education and redefining education, yes, there are a lot of changes that will happen post the COVID, and that is yet to be seen. But I think the biggest change that will be is there has to be a coexistence of physical schooling and online learning, and taking that forward and pushing it to make sure that everyone is getting all boxes are getting checked, where there is academic learning and there is co-curricular learning happening at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so are we done with the panelists?
Yes.
So I would like to start with a thought. The thought is that thoughts become ideas, ideas become perspectives, and perspectives become reality. And I would like to thank all of you present here to help us change the reality. Now, speaking of changing realities, I don't think I can stop myself from talking about India's Future Tycoon 3. So India's Future Tycoon is basically a platform, a massive platform, which will not just help you support your perspective, but also give it a platform to make it a reality. India's Future Tycoon is basically a competition which helps children with business ideas to help the society. And the best idea wins and gets 2 lakh rupees. I myself belong to the first India's Future Tycoon, and let me tell you, my experience has been splendid. It has just changed me as a person. Now I would like to share with you the trailer of IFT 3. Over to you, Naga.
I think the audio is not working, Naga.
Naga, can you please show it to us via YouTube? This might just take a while, so when we wait for the video, I would like to say that the registrations for IFT3 will end on 31st of December. So all of you young, amazing kids, please give it a thought.
Am I audible? अच्छा ठीक है.
Naga, I think the video is lagging.
So I just wanted to come up first to release that it is not very practical. Your learning on the job. Where different activities that we have incorporated into daily school activities that help people grow in different ways.
Guys, while we connect to the video, I would like Sneha Banerjee to share experience on IFT2. She was the runner-up of the competition. Over to Sneha.
Thanks, Ananya. I have been a part of IFT second season. For me, it had been a lifetime experience. The platform of IFT provides with the life skills which are required apart from the school curriculum. It is fun, creative, and full of enjoyment. So I would encourage every student out there to be a part of this IFT this season and do the registrations as fast as you can. Over to you, Ananya.
I think we're having some technical issues with the video. Can you please spare us 2 minutes?
I would also request Shivani to add the link in the chat box so that in case we are not able to play the video, we can at least send the link, add the link in the chat box so people can view it later.
Ananya, update.
Okay. So we have a few questions for our panelists.
Sure.
So my first question is from Dr. Neeta ma'am. Ma'am, how do you think that practical knowledge which were to be given to the students in this lockdown have been affected, and how do you think it could have been improved?
So I would revert the question by asking you, what does practical exactly mean to you?
Ma'am, for me, being a class 12 student this year, I just totally lacked the knowledge of what a resistor box is, what the voltage box is, like in a physics practical, or in a chemistry practical, I lack what titration is. So, or many things are there, like my cousins, a fourth class cousin of mine, she lacks what origami was actually in school. So there are many things with practical knowledge which we actually lack, what games to be play in school in a group. So I was just willing to ask, how could we actually overcome this lack of a practical knowledge?
So I would first take the educational domain. I would love to talk on it. That when you talk about titration, when you talk about physics practicals, when you talk about voltage, these are small little experiments. As child, the first thing is curiosity. Whenever anything is being said to us, ki you are not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to go there, you're not supposed to meet your friends beyond la 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 time, but we all love crossing our boundaries and doing that. So curiosity in us allows us experiments to actually happen in house. And as a child, what I remember is when I had to first do the litmus paper and to see actually what was happening with my litmus paper, I tried everything in my house first. Because I knew सिर्फ मम्मी की मार पड़ने वाली है, स्कूल में पोपट नहीं होगा. I was that clear, you know. So it is fine to do mistakes and learn from those mistakes which is happening. Of course, yes, you know, pairing up with your friend, learning through them, learning through the environment, learning through your teachers is something which is really challenging. But still you ask your curious mind, ki what else can I create out of it which is available at my house as the resources which I have and which I have really not been focusing on. So I think 50% can be done at home learning. And of course, 50% requires administration, it requires some proper guidance and also observation. So with that, I think I answer your question one, and second question was what?
Ma'am, you answered both my question. I just, in the second part, asked how could we overcome this lack of practical knowledge. That was a
When,
wonderful answer, ma'am. Thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
And when you do all these things with curiosity and when you do it all these things with your own happiness, that is the experiment which you create. And then when you want to talk about it to everyone, and you want everyone to experience the experience.
So my next question would be for Mrs. Viruti Shah. Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah.
So, ma'am, as you clearly mentioned that your perspective as a parent, so I would also like to ask you that how was your experience of actually controlling your son at house and teaching him also?
So it was a learning experience because it was not just him at home, everyone at home was at home. So all the family members were at home, and so it was a mix of taking care of the studies, taking care of all the household requirements, as well as at the same time there was the initial few months was there was a lot of uncertainty of what is going to happen, how is going to happen, how are things going to come back to normal, what is happening, curiosity about what is happening around the world. So with all of that, to keep learning in engaging and fun, it what happened was that the learning shifted from traditional ways of learning to something new, like we would bake a cake together, or I would ask him to help me around the house, like maybe taking care of plants, or um, doing something else, with like cleaning something or something like that. So basically focusing on life skills, because even those skills are needed. And at the same time, when it was learning time, you can include fractions, or you can include basic science in your cooking, or in the activities that are being done around the house. So it was just finding more creative ways of teaching the same things that were already being taught, like percentages. When you talk about percentages that need to be taught, now if you use cricket analogy, or if you use the coronavirus count analogy, and you use those numbers to teach percentages, it is very relevant to what is happening around you, but it is easier to, and that's why it becomes easier to grasp. So that is how I did it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. My next question for Seema, ma'am. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, yes, Ruti, I'm very much here.
So, ma'am, my question from you is that you have a lot of experience of teaching. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you think the education in school is going to be post-COVID? Like currently, where I live, schools are open from October, and no one
Mm-hmm.
is going to school. The classrooms are empty. And
Mm-hmm.
from next year, it's going to be, of course, compulsory to go to school and go back
Yes,
to the new normal. But
yes.
then I ask, what are going to be the effect of that post-COVID education in school?
Uh, Actually, what is happening is, Nandini, that parents, they first used to feel that just like Western countries, why not start homeschooling? Like I had few parents coming to me and asking that, as we are working parents and as grandparents are there at home, can't we do an open schooling or a homeschooling? So, but now, parents are realizing that homeschooling doesn't really help. The only reason is that coming to school, and we, as doctor said, we all are social animals. We need to be connected socially to our friends, to our teachers, to our surroundings. We learn so much in the school environment. So the first thing is, I think many parents are going to, like, never think about homeschooling again, because I also accept that this is 80% teachers job and 20% parents, because they need to be there with their little ones when they are online. So I'm sure parents do not want to do that. So the homeschool is going to, like, be away for some time. So I'm going to have a lot of students coming back happily. Students know, first, I had these grade 1 and 2 students who, as I said before, they never used to like to come to school because they have to wake up early and things like that. But now they are, looking forward to coming to school. So I'm going to have all smiley faces in the classes. And of course, with the national education policy changes, what has begun, which has already begun, it's going to be more child friendly, and it is also going to be, a lot of positive things for children to come with this new policy. So it's going to be wonderful, and believe me, we all are waiting for these schools to start, and we just want to see the classes, blooming with these beautiful smileys. Yes, I would also like to add something here. The thing what my children are going to miss, I feel, is, when they are online, they have breakfast on the bed. When they are, they just switch off the camera and they have breakfast. Mummy brings a glass of milk and says, "See, the teacher is right in front of you. If you don't drink milk, I'm going to tell her." So children are drinking milk, and it's like we have only 2 recesses in the school, but here the children are having 4 to 5 breaks. Mothers taking care of them. This is what they're going to miss. So I think, I'll have to increase the number of recesses in school.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I think no webinar is memorable without a few technical glitches. So here we are back with our webinar. Just allow me to screen share. Go. Just tell me if it's proper. Is it visible?
It's visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Not audible.
It's not audible, ma'am?
I can't hear, yeah.
It is not.
Is it audible now?
You need to share computer sound.
Yes.
Still not audible.
Not audible? So I think we're having...
Start the computer audio probably.
You shared computer sound when you go to screen sharing.
Just give me a second, guys. I think Naga is here to help us.
Is it?
Audible? अच्छा ठीक है.
I think it's just not working, so let's not.
Yeah. Let's just we have anyways put the link in the chat box. So Ananya, let's continue.
So thank you so much everyone for waiting. So now comes the time where everyone is awaiting for the winner. And here we have the results. So the winner of the 1 minute competition is Tia Gandhi. Can we have a round of applause for Tia Gandhi? Do we have Tia Gandhi on board? Naga, I think it's okay. You can stop screen sharing.
Ananya, can you also share what's the prize, winning prize?
Okay, so the lucky winner, which is Tia Gandhi, wins 1,000 in cash points on our Empower Pro website. So Tia Gandhi, can we have you here? I think Tia Gandhi cannot reach us.
I can see her, but she's on mute.
So maybe the host could unmute her. Can we try unmuting Thea?
Yeah, just give me a second. Nope.
Someone just stop the screen share. We are not able to take Thea on the screen.
Stop the screen share, Naga.
Thea is present or not?
I think we can't reach Thea right now, but we'll definitely call her and we'll tell her about that she's won. Now, while concluding, I would again like to say that IFT3 is just waiting for all of you young minds. So please go and register right now. It's free of cost and the deadlines are on 31st December. I would like to thank every one of you for being here. It has been a lovely experience, surely a memorable one. So thank you so much. Stay safe and have a happy new year, which is just going to come in a few days. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,